Now then, let's begin partner session 5. This is a session presented by the Tokyo community with Hiroshima for global peace. Now I'd like to introduce to you the panelists of this session. First, Professor Soda Yoshinobu, Department of Social System Design, Eikei University, Director of the Center for Partnership Research Promotion. Next is Mr. IWAI Mutsuo, Chairperson of the Board, Japan Tobacco, Inc. He is also Vice Chairman in charge, the Japan Association of Corporate Executives, Keizai Doyukai. We also have Ms. SHIRAI Tomoko, social entrepreneur, and Mr. Yuji SUYAMA, co-founder, representative director of Tokyo Zebra Unite. And then we have Mr. Shibusawa Ken, Chief Executive Officer of Shibusawa and Company. And my name is SASAKI. I would like to serve as your moderator today. Very nice to meet you. So now then, let's begin the session. But before we begin this session, I would like to invite Governor Hidehiko Yuzaki of Hiroshima Prefecture to say a few words. Governor, please. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Yuzaki, Governor of Hiroshima. 2025 Business Forum for Global Peace. Thank you very much for joining us today. And this is a Plus Tokyo community. Is that how you call it, Mr. Sasaki? Thank you very much for organizing this partners session. I truly appreciate. And we have all those wonderful panelists on stage. And I'm sure that you now are quite eager to have the panel discussion commenced already, but I do hope that this session turns out to be a fruitful one. And also, Mr. Soda, Mr. Iwai, they are starting a new peace initiative. That's what I have heard. So going forward, I am looking forward to your activities and this network expanding in order for us all to engage in peace activities. Thank you very much for your efforts and contribution. Thank you. Thank you very much, Governor Yuzaki. Now let us begin the session. First, allow me to explain today's theme. So let me have my presentation material projected on the screen. So as for today's material, I think our staff members have been distributing those handouts to you. If you do not have one, please feel free to take a copy from the table near the entrance. And then you can actually download the slides using the QR code, or you can go to ceapp.org, which is our website. The materials are downloadable from that website. So this session consists of an introduction and a panel dialogue and a photo session. So it has 3 parts. So this is what I'd like to talk about today. This is the theme of today's session. How can the business sector contribute to peace? So this question is really the starting point of the new project we are introducing today, CEAPP or SEEP. So this summer, SEEP will commence. And at SEEP, we will engage with research and dialogue. And in research, we will examine factors and drivers that encourage businesses to adopt peace as one of their management goals. And those key drivers are what we call new capital. And in a dialogue program, and peace is a complex theme. In order to do the research on this complex theme of peace, we will engage not just the business sector, but also the NPOs and researchers to do the research. So we will have a dialogue amongst all of these stakeholders. So over the next year, SEEP will carry out its research and dialogue program. And then towards May, it may be that this same conference may take place in Hiroshima, and on that occasion, we will strive to compile and publish the SEEP report next year. And this report will serve as guidance for companies to apply our research findings in practice. So when businesses use such guidance, they can transform their businesses, and then they can pursue sustainability, and then also long-term increase of their corporate value, and also building and maintenance of peace, all at the same time. So that's the goal of such guidance. So now, what we call new capital, what is it? I would like to briefly introduce this concept. I will just focus on the concept today. So businesses do their business operations based on the foundation of peace, meaning that they unconsciously benefit from the foundation of peace. Having said that, this foundation of peace, this is something that is created by somebody, and this is maintained by somebody, and the companies are benefiting from that. So for businesses, rather than merely consuming resources, companies need to invest in the strengthening the foundation, for example, through talent development or knowledge creation. So they make investment. So in other words, companies making investment in the very foundation of their businesses and then accumulate what they have invested, and then there is a kind of a circular for that accumulation to become the source of the reinforcement of the foundation of their activities. And that source is what is called capital. And then we have focused on this concept of capital. So we would like to drive and maintain the circulation of capital. And this eventually will benefit the foundation of the business, which is peace. So that is our hypothesis. And this cycle or circulation is generated through business activities. So this diagram illustrates the concept of new capital. So as you can see from this diagram, companies have different resources such as financial, manufactured, intellectual, human, social relationship, and nature. So these work as input to produce output, and what's being output is circulated to once again become input. So there is a kind of circulation here. However, there is a problem here. The balance of this circulation and the distribution of this circulation, that can be the problem, because nowadays the output is very much focused on the financial resources or the capital, and that is probably inhibiting a peace or producing certain social challenges. Therefore, we need to optimize this circulation of capital and then enhance the circulation of capital. And that is the concept of new capital that we are advocating. And then by strengthening this, companies can transform themselves and increase their corporate value. And that can eventually lead to the maintenance and creation of peace. So that's what we think. And then this is the idea that we put together in this SEEP prospectus. It's called Prospectus of SEEP. And then this is included amongst your handouts. And then this document has been formulated by the members, including the panelists are here. And we had 7 rounds of discussions amongst those members in the past 4 months to formulate this prospectus. So today, the members of the formulation of this prospectus are here in this venue. And then we have Soda-san, Iwai-san as co-chairs, and committee members Shirai-san and SUYAMA-san, and also the advisor Ken Shibusawa are here as the panelists today on stage among all these members. So I do hope to have more detailed discussions about this SIP together with the panelists later on. And of course, that this is not an activity that's done on our own, but Governor Yuzawa and also the citizens of Hiroshima will be cooperating with them, and that being the foundation, will be working together with NPOs, researchers, and company managers. So we will have dialogue and we will have network of all those stakeholders. So this endeavor initiative will continue for 1 year. So it's going to be a long-term program. So if you agree with our purpose, I do hope that you will join us. You can be individuals, you can be companies. By all means, I do hope that you take interest and take part in this. You can be fellows, you can be companies supporting research and implementation, or you can be sponsors. So we are soliciting your support in many of these roles. So please consider that possibility. And if you will, please let us know. Or you can just access the website to send your inquiry. Thank you.
Hi.
Well, that is for the introductory remarks from my end. So now I'd like to move on to the panel dialogue session. All right, please allow me to be seated. Well, without further ado, as an ice-breaking, I would like to turn to each of the panelists to share with us some backgrounds, how you got involved with this program from this end to the other end. So, Professor Soda, you living in Hiroshima and from the academia. Hello, everyone. This is Soda. I am with the Prefectural University of Eikei University and also the HBMS Business School is my profession, so I would like to speak from the academia point of view. Well, 2 things that motivated me to participate. One, as a researcher, I'm specializing in social system design, and this is, of course, about building the new social system model that creates peace. So that was my area of interest, obviously. And we haven't had much research done in this area. So based on peace, if we are able to create a new social system design, I think that's worth researching. So that's where I come from. And another aspect is 6 years ago when actually, I was part of the founding organization of this university, Eikei University. Hiroshima is a city rich in potential, and I wanted to create this social system design. And this is about the problems that resides at the Gemba, and there are people who are engaged will feel that problem, and but there are people at the Gemba who don't really notice or realize their real value, and it's actually the global companies and other outsiders who really feel the value of Hiroshima. So changing from inside is one thing, but actually with a view from outside, from Tokyo and also from the global, I think that is another aspect where we can see Hiroshima as the right place to create the social system. And because Hiroshima has this universal value of peace, it can become a mecca And I would like to have the people in Hiroshima understand the value that you have. So that is how I came to be part of this project. Thank you for having me today. Thank you. Now, Mr. Iwai from business perspective. Well, thank you for the introduction. My name is Iwai. Well, you refer to Keizai Toyukai, and also I am also with Japan Tobacco Incorporation. I've been with the company more than 40 years. Very domestic, super domestic company we are. That's where we started, but now we are becoming very global, operating in more than 130 countries. And talking about peace, because we have this global operation, we have come to reflect upon us after the Cold War. Goods, money, people have started to move around freely, and we have been building our business model in that context. But we are here in this situation where there is war between Russia and Ukraine. Well, in Russia, we have top share, so that is one of our market. And peace has been enjoyed by us, and it has been a free ride, kind of free ride. And how business can contribute to peace was something that we actually started to discuss with Shibusawa-san. We had the Africa Committee in our organization, and it was not about conflict or war, but it was about innovation, how to create an abundant or affluent world where people can enjoy the rich lives. And Japan has been making contribution because of the resources of Japan. So this is about building peace and also conducting business on top of that foundation that we have created. And I thought that that kind of cycle is something we want to have. It was just something that I just kind of thought, but Sasaki-san invited me very passionately to join this organization. So here I am today. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Ms. Shirai, from the social entrepreneur's perspective, from the nonprofit sector. My name is Tomoko Shirai. Well, I actually was more interested in children who do not go to school. We have about 340 kids in Japan who do not wish to go to school, and also the development disorders or poverty. So these were the social problems that I have been interested in. I have been trying to provide a place for such kids to work and play. And also, Keizai Toyukai, together with the organization, I have joined a social sector organization, an industrial organization. So I have been involved both in education and social sector. So I have been joining this program from that perspective. And why did I join? Well, first of all, why education and why the problem solving in the society? Because war, poverty, and discrimination, I wanted to pass on to the next generation a world free of these things. This may sound big, but to continue saying it is very important, I think. So peace is always at the core. And yes, this is something inevitable. So that's why I'm here. And in order to get closer to peace, so what is bringing about the war? So this, I think, is the disparity and the divide. And of course, education play and also solving the societal issues. This is something that we need to do. But this area is really scarce in resources. We are not catching up with the updating of the society. So that is why we have 340,000 kids not being able to go to school. So the new flow of capital, new flow of money is something we need to create. We need updating, innovation here. So that is what I think is important. And I wanted to work on that through this program. Thank you very much. Well, thank you. Now, SUYAMA-san, from the investor's perspective. Well, yes. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity today. Yeah, Shirai-san, I felt you very heated up, very passionate and emotional. Thank you. That's good. Well, about the background, well, I have nothing special. So I was with the public. I was a public servant with METI, and then investment in the venture capitals. So investment in venture companies, we can only support a limited number of people. So finance and also to support more people, I'm with the Zebra companies and also finance impact investment, ESG, which is beyond ESG. Those are the activities I'm involved in. And in relation to today's topic, I'd like to touch from a personal note. From 8 years old to 20 years old, I've been playing baseball all the time, from morning till night. Every day, I've been practicing baseball. And when I was in high school, my teacher told me, well, baseball education, I think, in Japan is really great. But he said, so you haven't noticed yet? Yeah, he kept on telling me about 3 times a day, every day. So I was with the baseball team until university, and within reason, I quit baseball. And I've always been thinking about what my teacher was trying to tell me. So my teacher told me, think about why you're able to play baseball. And my hypothesis was because I have parents, they work, they feed me, and they bought me the baseball equipment. So I was lucky, and also Japan was peaceful, and not just for a temporary now, but just for a year, but for 80 years after the last war, we have had peace. So that's why I was able to play baseball. I came to realize that when I was at university. So that's why after that, how to contribute to the society, I came to think about that. I decided to join METI. And there is Ukraine, the Israel issues, and peace is not something that we can take as regard. And my friends at the government and also other professors, when I talk to them, reality and idealism, how to balance that. Business sector must really come together to think seriously about that. So that's why I'm here today. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Shibusawa-san, please. Good afternoon. I am Shibusawa Ken. In 2001, I established Shibusawa Company, my own company. Before that, I was working for investment bank or hedge fund, the U.S. But after 6 months or so, alarm clock rang. I was in the U.S. on a business trip. And what happened? It was September 11th. There were no planes are flying. It was a beautiful blue sky. And then I thought, peace is like air. You just take it for granted. But then once it's lost, what happens is this. So that's like the alarm clock. That's like wake-up call, I would say. And then that's where I started to think about sustainability. That's the starting point for me. And then I was working for a fund. And then a lot of the firefighters were killed. And then those bereaved families, for them, they started a fund. And then there are very rich people in the U.S., but when there are social issues, there is this dynamism where they are directly involved. Japan was the same up until the 1980s, but then when there was lost 10 years, on the one hand, some people started to make profit. On the other hand, other people started to solve social issues, but then there were silos. I wanted to bridge the two. And then with the U.S. fund, it's based on performance. Therefore, when there is a profit, 10% of that, the fee compensation can be used to destroy or break down the silos to support by supporting the social entrepreneurs, or seed cap is what we call. And then after some other events, I started a common seed cap. That's how it's called right now. Under Iwai-san's leadership and Keizai Doyukai, we started the impact fund for Africa. So what my point here is that 25 years ago, the part of the profit of a company to be returned to the society, that was kind of a surprising thing to do for NPO's mind. But this is now taken for granted, meaning that we have evolved. So businesses alone cannot build peace. They need to have a variety of partnerships. One of them is to work with social entrepreneurs or NPOs to create value together, so to pursue value creation together. So this kind of advancement or evolution is taking place right now. Thank you. Thank you very much. So each one of you, from a different perspective, are thinking of peace. So what's surprising is that business and peace, they are seemingly far apart, but then actually you take it on, as your own, thinking about peace. So we will go into the main theme, but I would like you to go deeper into the details later on. So to begin, as an ice break, I'd like to ask Soda-san and Iwai-san, two co-chairs of SEEP, to talk about this project. So this project actually, preparation started back in January already, and in the past 4 months, we had 7 rounds of discussions. And in the process, Soda-san and Iwai-san, during those 7 rounds of discussions, what did you learn, and what are the challenges that are emerging? What are the important points? So what took place and what is going to take place going forward? Please talk about that. Soda-san, please begin. So nothing has been kind of emerging out of this project, but we would like to deepen this project in the process where we will be working with you. So what I learned is that business sector has a lot of interest in peace. And then they are trying to find a kind of trigger to get involved. So that's something I sensed. I'm a researcher right now, so I'm oftentimes too theoretical. But those managers working on the ground, they take peace as their own. And then they sense that working on peace, it can actually create corporate value. So how can we verbalize that? That is very important. And there are 2 perspectives. So one thing is about social system, because we are talking about capital as a big theme. But as a social system, how are we going to share it? And whether we can measure it or not, we don't know. But then how can we visualize it and share it as a social system? So that's one perspective. So that is what we call peace capital. And we would like to deepen our discussions on this concept of peace capital. Another one is about management system as a business of a company. How should we understand it? Because within a company, within an organization, how are we going to incorporate it? And as an output of the business, how can a business present added value to society, to the world? So a peaceful business, is that possible? So I think these are the 2 perspectives. And how can we visualize that? The latter part is Peace Tech Award is a kind of project I have been working on because it's very much relevant to me. But Peace Tech is a kind of new concept. But is there any technology that can contribute to peace? What kind of technology does that? What kind of business model can contribute to peace? We don't have answers to that, but as long as we start accumulating case studies, we can probably standardize them and come up with some commonalities, make them universal, and then find value there together. And then within this project, a framework of SEEP, we can have that discussion together. I'm sure that everyone is eager to talk, so I won't be too long and give the baton to Iwai-san. Thank you very much. So yes, I am a business person myself. And one thing, like if you look at the conflicts globally, how can we directly impact such a situation? what kind of a product, what kind of services they can actually contribute to the situation on the ground. But then another thing is indirect involvement. How can we use Japanese resources so that African countries can thrive? And then, of course, as a business, how can we at the same time get return? So the foundation of peace requires innovation, not just donation, but innovation. So yes, we just touched upon technology, but then something different from the past, a new way of doing things can actually enrich a country. So that is kind of thing that can be called a contribution in the area of negative peace. That is my hypothesis. And yet another completely different perspective. And it's not just about conflicts and wars, but then around us, is there a society that is truly peaceful? So that's about positive peace. And then not just the world peace, that is a big peace. But what about my own organization? What about the well-being of my own employees? What about the communities around us? As Shirai-san said, no one left behind. Is that really the case? So we need to have foundation for those smaller peace around us. So that's another way of contributing peace. So we talk about collaborative capitalism. And this is a concept in Keizai Doyukai, because companies have resources, companies have certain funds, but the NPOs and NGOs, they're working on the ground to address the social issues directly, and those people can come together. And then managers, company managers can feel like empathy there, and that is about ethical capitalism that's talked about by Gabriel. And if there's something I can do, so let us do that together to make the society peaceful, and then that can lead to the bigger piece of the world peace. So that is the kind of a circulation I would like to make. So that is the hypothesis I have right now. Once I start thinking about it, I think it's quite grand, but then there are things that can be done quite close to us. That's what I think. Thank you very much. So let's have a free talk from now on. And I would like to just say one thing. That is, as Soda-san said, Peace Tech Award, which took place, what kind of technology can contribute to peace? What kind of startups are there that are contributing to peace?
And as we heard now, so the social entrepreneurs, so you are working for peace. What exactly are you doing? I think we need to hear from people who are really working on it, and a dialogue there I think is going to be important. Shirai-san, to you. Well, thank you. Well, in terms of education, well, the technology that we need to employ doesn't require a high level of technology. No. Well, AI device per student, yes, we already have that now. But Wi-Fi, we can get connected all at once. So internet connection, that is round about where we need. So there is really a gap between what's happening in the society. So it's really poor and also very scarce. The resource is very scarce. And that is generating the divide. This kind of discussion, I think, is very important. But on the other hand, I always feel uncomfortable because we are dealing with mothers who face or encounter problems in raising their kids. I think that what we are discussing now has nothing to do with them. So 30, 40 students in one classroom has been a standard education style in Japan. And so we actually have gone through a compulsory education, but some kids actually cannot read or calculate, and we have many of them, even though they go to school or even they do not go to school. There are many people as such. And when they listen to us talking things like this, they will think that it's like a conspiracy or something, trying to deceive us in any way, or trying to make money out of us. So there is this large gap or divide there. and it is becoming wider. So this poor public education is now actually contributing to enlarging this divide. This new flow of capital or new technology, how we can incorporate that in solving the societal issues, that's very simple, actually. So optimized education, so the government is looking into that. The technology, AI, internet, obviously will become important because we cannot have teachers for each student, so we need to use the technology here. But the resources that are available in companies, making that available for use for kids at a low cost, that kind of collaboration, that really will help, and that will be a big innovation, actually. Very primitive, basic, but that's really where we should start. Can I cut in? Because that was a very good topic. Well, the objective of today's discussion is that, well, I personally think that this session is unique, different from others. This is not just about conveying a message, but this is a start, so we are different. So it's not just about making presentations like the others, but it's about being at a starting point. We want to share that with everybody. So I totally agree with what Shirai-san said. So members other than here on the stage, we have other members, but we want to involve more and more people, more perspectives, and more sensitivity. We need to bring in everybody together. Otherwise, we cannot really come up with a solution of how we can connect business and peace. It's not that we're trying to do something special. Because what I said earlier, what Shirai-san said, what Irai-san said, it's not really something special. It's about trying to think about what we can do within the scope of what we're really doing every day. How is it connected with peace? This is to revisit and ask ourselves once again. This is to do with impact management or impact investment that I'm involved. It's not something completely new, but to look at it with a new eye, then you can come up with something new. To give you some examples, well, Shirai-san, I totally agree with you when you said, well, my friends in the 20s and 30s, for example, when I talk to them, they are very busy and they are all very focused on making good performance. So PTA and local community, so they don't want to take their time for that. And I talk to politicians, local politicians actually, and people involved in local politics is actually those who work for, not for large companies, but rather smaller or local companies. So for the local politics, and not many people from big companies are involved. So you talked about silo earlier. I think we can broaden the silo, so release the silo to an extent so that we can promote peace in the region and also in the world. So we really want to have people join from different perspectives, different backgrounds. Sorry, that was a little long, but yes, I'll stop here. Anybody who wants to talk? Shibusawa-san? Yes, of course. Yeah, I was worried I'm going to take up too much time, but anyway. Well, so earlier we talked about how business can contribute to peace and collaboration with the NGOs and other parties that is needed. That's for sure. But collaboration alone is not enough. And as Sasaki-san mentioned earlier, the companies are more focused on the financial capital. And of course, I can understand that because it's measurable and it's visible, tangible. But for example, ESG, how did that develop? G came first because it's easy to measure. So yes, yeah, it's important. And next came the E, save the planet, global, and also scientific evidence, easy to measure. So because if you can convert to CO2 equivalent, then you can measure it. But S is lagging behind, left behind, because we don't know what to measure. So that's why ESG pushback is happening, or coming from people who are angry about being left behind. So ESGP P, I think P should come first. Peace, I think, should come first. And post ESG, I think that's going to be important, changing the narratives. So that goes back to yesterday's session, not just about controlling the risk, but we who are creating the value, how do we show that? It has to be in numbers. We talked about the impact model earlier. So that really shows a very beautiful picture. So how do we measure and what do we measure? That's very complex. It's not easy. But unless we have that, we cannot enable the silo buster. And if we do have that measurement, we will have a common language in place. So the companies, the government, NPOs, we can use the same language in solving the problems. I think this is going to be very important. Iwai-san, together with Iwai-san, we actually discuss the impact investment. We do that together. And listening to him, what really impressed me was that, well, he talked about this earlier a little bit, but it's not just about donation. Well, for example, sustainability department giving them the budget and supporting that, yes, that's important, of course. But giving the balance sheet to the sustainability department, well, about the investment, I mean, and that gets circulated within the society and comes back. So we can build this circulation. That's, of course, is important. Igarashi-san is involved in very important work. So impact-weighted accounting. So the value that's not become visible. So it's still in the early stage, but he's working on that. I feel that we are still in the early stage, but that kind of initiative has started. And with that, for the first time, I think we can think about the post-ESG, which is about impact for creating new value, and that needs to be measured and become visible. So this should not come from the investors. However, it should come from the startups that is creating the value. So them presenting to us investors, I think that should be what should be happening. So the companies or the startups that are creating value, I think, should be responsible for this. This is what I would like to see in post-ESG. Well, to follow up on what's just been said, well, each company has having their own purpose and the contribution to the society. Them measuring that, making declaration that they're going to measure in this way, and also to explain the level of achievement. I think that's very important. Well, in the finance sector, ESG, maybe it's easier to measure, but I think the pressure is coming from the investors have been promoting this movement. I think that's part of the truth. So zebra certification or B-pump. Yes, we have been working together. So this so being recognized that you are making this movement, I think this also is going to be important. So in that sense, so if everybody gets engaged in commons investment, that'll be great, but we're not there yet. Yes, from the investor's point, yes, I was wondering, what's your view?
So when it comes to investors are not just one. There are investors that are looking at only ROE or this term. So there is a kind of diversity of investors. In terms of information disclosure, it has to be standardized. But then among the investors, there are investors who I would like to become shareholders of my company. For those investors, I could come up with a suitable narrative. And then for that, we need to have commitment. And others may not be interested. But then I think there should be commitment because we value this. And if you, as an investor, does not value that, you can invest elsewhere. Of course, I wouldn't use those language, but then that's what I think. So mutually, we need to have a dialogue to understand each other. So dialogue or democratic process, not like punching each other. We may have different sense of value, we have different positions, but then through dialogue, we understand each other. And it could be second best, but then let's do it together. This kind of attitude is very important. And Shirai-san, I would like to ask you, that can be done only through education, I guess. It may take time, but what do you think? Such a democratic process leading to peace, that is something where education can really contribute. Yes, I totally agree with that. Like, we are all different, but then we respect such difference and still have dialogue. And then out of such differences, we can find a kind of a common ground. So that kind of education is truly important. But is that done in school? They talk about it, they say they are doing it, but then kids, they know what we really think. So they know that eventually we are valuing them with some paper test scores. And then those with high scores, they are valued, and others are just left behind. So that's, when I was a kid already, people were talking about this society based on academic performance is over, but then it's still continuing. Basically, this is like leaving some people behind. But rather than that, I was trained for university entrance exam to get a lot of knowledge and then put it out. But then, we can't beat AI in that regard. They are faster, so we can't really compete with AI. But if we compete, keep on competing, what value is being produced? There's a war there's climate change, but then nobody knows the answer, how to stop those things. That is the time we live in. So we have to use your own head and come up with some ideas, whether they are successful or not. We have to take responsibility for that and move on. So that is something we have to be doing. But then educational ground is very much out of touch with that. That's why we need to update the education system. That can lead to peace education eventually. May I once again step in? So, in that context, school education is, yes, one, but education is does not end, at the age of 15, 18, or 20, 22. So, I'm learning on this stage today. I'm learning. When I was a venture capitalist, and I'm sure that the people may be happy to hear this, but then, like the creation of business itself is a lot of learning, because when venture capitalists invest in a startup, there are a lot of things we don't know, so we have to learn. And the organization management or company management, it's the same. They have to learn as managers. And we investors need to learn also from the scratch. And innovation, entrepreneurship, startups, or fostering entrepreneurs, half of that is learning. So that's already written in papers, scientific papers. So in that sense, education is not something that's far away from me. What do I learn? What do the person next to me learn? And how are we going to share the learning? So that's something that is very important. So talking about education, let me just say a word. And Sudo-san, please make a comment. It's not what I say, but Endo-san, NEC person, he is very keen on educational matters. And kyoiku in Chinese letters, it means teaching and also fostering or nurturing. But then so far, education has been all about teaching. That's important, but then we also need to nurture. Nurturing is also very important. Unless we have nurturing, we can't come up with innovation or come up with peace. in this new era. So, kyoiku in Chinese characters, I have both aspects, teaching and nurturing. Soda-san, what would you say? I'm sorry, I just acted as a moderator. Anyway, so I worked at the NEC for 25 years, so I know what Endo-san would say. But teaching is, well, that's okay, but nurturing, that's about how we recognize it, internalize it, and then verbalize it. It's the process, because there has to be a kind of autonomy there of each person. But being autonomous needs a sense of the self-esteem or assertion of oneself. Unless that feeling is there, you can't nurture a person. In society, we need to have that. So how can we do that? Within the system, you are part of the system, and when you start to communicate, it's very difficult. It becomes difficult for you to have meta recognition of yourself. That has to be supported through the society and academia, including universities. In order to have meta recognition or cognition, we need to have verbalization of things. So it's very difficult to have that still. So to support that verbalization, that has to be done by the academia, and that is the job of universities. That is a job of the public education. So meta recognition, verbalization, that is a process that has to be pursued, not just in education, but also in research field. So that's something that has to be done by educational system, and especially the public educational system. May I? Well, I would like to kind of more or less wrap up. Well, that's okay, but yeah, go ahead. So what is happening in the world right now is it's about meta recognition, and leaders who do not have such meta recognition becoming dictators. They don't understand that they have. They are loud, they are powerful, but they are leaders, and then they are kind of oppressing the people who are good people. Why is it that we do not have metacognition? It's because of the education. Eventually, at the end of the day, it's all about education. So it's not about economic conditions, whether you can have a certain attachment. And when you are small, young, you need to be grown with certain attachment and love. But then when there's an absence of that, they want to be approved, and they have a very strong desire for getting approval. And then when we do free school, and I do free school, and a lot of people who have developmental problem, and I stopped them from becoming dictators, because even if they do not have such attachment or love being given at home, others can give that to them. And some kids may be very extreme, but then they can grow into a very soft, round leaders. So that's all about leaving no one behind. Unless we do that, there can be just one extreme leader who just impact everyone in a negative way. So I think education is very important in terms of no one left behind.
Well, about metacognition. Well, yesterday, Marcus Gabriels talked about this in his speech introducing the revitalization of capitalism, Colin Mayer. And I actually had a chance to read the book. And what Mayer was talking about was to do with the golden rule. So golden rule basically is coming from Christianity. Do things what you want others to do for you. Do not do things that you don't want others to do for you. And he also talked about the new golden rule. So what others don't want done, and don't do to them, and do to others what they want done. Do you know the difference? It's not about you, but it's about the partner. And from the Eastern philosophy, so you start with yourselves. And it's metacognition. It's about your partner, the jin. About the five senses, a jin is the most difficult. Why is it difficult? Because you're not the other person. You don't know what the other person really wants because it's not yourself. So it requires imagination. So yesterday's Gabriel's talk, Colin Mayer's talk, and also so it's coming from the Chinese philosophy. So I think it synchronizes very well because it's coming from, although it's coming from three totally different backgrounds, I feel that there's synchronization there, which I found was quite interesting. Anybody who wants to talk? Yeah, just one last word. Yeah. So this should be my last talk, right? Yeah, okay. Well, business and peace. Yeah, going back to that topic once again. Well, through this entire program, Gabriel's talk about the ethics. I think that leads to education and also the democratic dialogue. So democratic is not just about the majority making the decision, but it's about a good dialogue, trying to come up with a good solution. I think that would lead to peace. And as we heard from Shibusawa-san now, so it's a world of Jing. And capitalism is said to be bad, but Adam Smith was originally talking about sympathy, and then fair trade based on the foundation. And if you leave freedom there, that would raise the wealth. So that was what Adam Smith said. So I think this is more to do with the soft law or hard law, also like the corporate law or investment standard, for instance. So that could be a way. So I think there could be different paths moving forward. So I also would like to be part of that. And if you want to be part of that, please do join us. That's all. I think this will be my final comment. Okay. So finally, I would like to turn to the panelists to invite the audience to be part of the program. If you could give a final word, Soda-san, please. Well, I'm sure we're running out of time. I would like to be brief. Well, so we're not talking about very big things, but I think we are talking more about the values that we have kept and trying to verbalize this. So if you feel that you can resonate, if you can agree, so regardless of what position you are, please raise your hand and we welcome you to join efforts because Hiroshima is really a special place for that. If you're interested, you're always welcome. So please do let us know. Please contact any of us after this. Thank you very much for coming today. Iwai-san, would you like to? No, I've already closed. Okay, yeah, looking forward to working with you. Thank you. So Shirai-san? Well, I'm repeating myself, but this discussion, so this is not somebody else's problem, but it really is related to your everyday life. But to have everybody take ownership, this is what we want to do. People from the NPO, I always tell them that we are the ones who need to deliver the information, and the young people who are supposed to be receiving this information, they only get the information TikTok and Instagram, not from books or newspapers or magazines. How are we going to deliver information to that? It's not that we are going to do TikTok, it's not that, but I think it's really the divide here. So they feel that we are talking about something too big, not anything to do with them, but rather we really want to join hands, work together. So please do join us. Thank you. Okay, I'll be brief. Well, what I value most, I think it's the same with everybody, else. So I'm not sure if I'm able to metacognition. But what did you think? Don't you think we are having fun? We look like we are having fun. It's not that we are trying to be serious, trying to discuss difficult topics. It doesn't look like that. I think you could feel that we are enjoying ourselves, and I think that's really the key. Yeah, I think it's always like this. Yeah, everybody very candid. Yes, and very fun. So yeah, looking forward to your participation as well. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So what is needed for health is what we already have. So I think it's about curiosity. So Jean, Joe, we use difficult words, but it's about curiosity, wanting to know something that's not happening, not in front of you, but elsewhere. So yes, please raise your radar for curiosity. I'm sure you already have your radar up, but yes, please create an environment where everybody can raise their awareness and curiosity. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. We will be spending the next 12 months on this program. And starting from Hiroshima today, this will be our start. And if next year, if there is this forum held here in Hiroshima next year, we would like to make the next round of presentation. The Hiroshima Declaration was declared yesterday with the presence of the Governor Yuzaki. So we would like to collaborate with them and also would like to work for this program. I appreciate your support. And last but not the least, we will, as I mentioned, we had 3 parts to a program, the final one being the photo session. And this for this meeting today, we have other committee members and also the NPOs, the representative of NPOs who are working closely with us. So I will call out their names one by one. So I would like to invite them to join us for the photo session. So I would like to call out the names. So if you could come up onto the stage one by one. Well, first of all, SEEP committee members. Kibo, Social Investment Professional, Mr. Takeshi Igarashi. Please come up onto the stage. And next, ARC and Beyond, Representative Director, Mr. Hiro Ishikawa. And from Globis Graduate School of Management, Mrs. Suzuka Kobayakawa. And from B Market Builder Japan, co-representative Ms. Yuki Mizobuchi. And next, the advisor from Cinnamon AI, Chairman and CSDO, Mr. Yoshimitsu Kaji. And lastly, I would like to introduce the MPOs that are going to work with us. Sharing Economy Association, Representative Director, Anju Ishiyama. And NPO Peace Day, Representative Director, Takashi Inoue. Peace Culture Village, Executive Director, Kenta Sumioka. And lastly, Peace Education Lab Nagasaki, Director, Tomoyuki Torisu. All right, the staff will bring the chairs to the front row. You've missed out somebody. Sorry, I've missed Imanishi-san. Sorry for that. One Young World Japan Committee, Executive Director, Yuka Imanishi. I apologize. Sorry. All right. So this will be the project member for the next 12 months. So you're always welcome to join our project. Okay, so we will rearrange the stage. So we'll bring up the chairs to the stage.
So
with this, we conclude this session. Thank you.
国際平和拠点広島東京コミュニティの皆様ありがとう。
Thank you very much. This concludes all the sessions in the room Setouchi B. The plenary session 6 is going to take place in Setouchi room A. So if you are taking part in the plenary, please move to Setouchi A. Thank you.